Right lads, I'm your host of Man And His Kebab, and I like football. If you hadn't noticed. Yeah, I think you guys may have noticed this banner that has appeared in recent videos, and this jersey that I wear from time to time reading St. Patrick's Athletic Football Club, which to any of you outside of Ireland, and some of you inside Ireland, but we'll get to that later, might sound a bit odd. See, St. Patrick's Athletic is my local football club, and of course the team that I support. And St. Pat's play in the League of Ireland, Ireland's National Football League, basically our equivalent of the EFL. The League of Ireland and its Premier Division, which is the top flight of the league, should be the focal point of football in Ireland. However, for various reasons, it's not, and we'll get into that later. But to start off, I thought I'd familiarise you all with the League of Ireland, and the best way I saw fit to do that was to bring you along to a few games. So a few key details about the Premier Division before we get started. The Premier Division consists of 10 teams, formerly 12, with the team finishing at the top of the table at the end of the season, of course being the winners. The bottom team of course being relegated, and second last going into a playoff with second finishers in the first division. If the team in the Premier Division wins, they stay up. If the team in the first division wins, they take their place, and the Premier Division team is relegated. The league is a summer league, which runs from February to November, which means if you're a European looking for some football to watch in July and there's no internationals on, the League of Ireland might be worth your time checking out. Each team plays 36 games, which yes, if you do the maths, you play each opposition team 4 times, twice at home and twice away. These are the current Premier Division clubs and where they're located in Ireland. Yes, you'll notice it's very Dublin biased, and with all that said, let's get into the first game. Drogheda at home in Richmond Park, home of my club, St. Pat's. Located in beautiful Inchicore, Dublin, Richmond Park can hold around 5,400. Yes, I know in comparison to a lot of European leagues, that's not a lot. For this match, I'd be standing in the Camac Terrace. Yes, English football fans, we have terraces, stay jealous. Now our opponents, Drogheda, hailing from County Louth, and form one part of the Louth Derby. Overall, not much to say about them. I don't really have anything against Drogs. They were a half decent bunch. The start of the game saw a tifo by our ultras, the Shed End Invincibles, also known as the best ultras in the league. I'm definitely not biased at all. And what followed can only be described as a brutal first half performance by Pats. Poor defending led to us conceding in the 17th minute, and overall, it wasn't a great performance by the lads. A free kick or two that ultimately didn't amount to anything, and with that, it was half time. For the second half, I moved down to the far end of the Camac Terrace. The second half was much better. A few shots that were actually on target, kinda, before finally, in the 77th minute, a goal by Darragh Burns. Quick side note, I didn't get footage of any of the goals from any of the matches, so highlight reel as it is. It's a lot better anyway. So we left match day 1 with a 1-1 draw. Not exactly what you'd call a great start. So next up, another home game against the other half of the Louth Derby, Dundalk. Now I have a lot more to say about Dundalk than Drogs. During the 2010s, Dundalk were a force to be reckoned with in the league, winning 5 out of a possible 10 titles, and 2 FAI Cups, our cup competition. Many Arsenal fans may have heard of these guys due to the fact that they were in the same group in the Europa League in 2020, and overall they're probably one of the best known Irish clubs outside of Ireland due to their European record. Now Pats and Dundalk historically have never really had much of a rivalry. Yes, they have been better than us both historically and in the past decade, but this game was significant for one reason. See, last season we had a fella called Stephen O'Donnell managing us, got us to second place in the league, our highest finish in the league since we won it in 2013, and more significantly, won us our 4th FAI Cup. The problem was, O'Donnell was a former Dundalk player, and as soon as the Dundalk managerial position was available at the end of the season, the snaky bastard Steo jumped ship to Dundalk after playing us like a fiddle. So as you can tell, he was definitely going to be welcome back to Richmond with open arms. Yeah. So this time I'd be joined by my good friend Mo. You're probably all familiar at this point with him, he loves being in the videos. And we'd be sitting in the singing section of the main stand, pretty much where all the atmosphere was gonna be. Yeah, that is the thing about us League of Ireland fans. Although the numbers aren't always on our side, we never fail to create an atmosphere. So with the flags of war hung out, the game kicked off. The first half was decent enough. A few corners, some decent chances, but not really much to comment on. So once again, halftime rolled around, and this time it was time for a history lesson with Mo.
My name's Tim the Travelling Tradesman. You might know me from Man And His Kebab TV, from the Christmas special of, what was it, 2021? Whatever year before, right? And then, so we're at Richmond Park. It's Pats versus Dundalk, up the Saints. It is currently 0-0 at half time. You know, I just want to give a brief history of Richmond Park here. So over there we got the gents' toilets, right? It's just a gutter that lads piss in.
So the second half began, and this is where the singing section doesn't exactly work well for recording, largely because of all the poxy poles in the way. Yeah, not that there was much to record anyway. Dundalk were definitely a bit more dominant, although we did get a few more chances and a couple more moments to take the mickey out of O'Donnell. Okay, maybe I might be downplaying it a bit, but once again the game would finish a draw, 0-0. Yeah, I really picked a bad run of games to report on, but hey, at least it means I'm not a glory hunter like most Rovers fans. Speaking of Rovers, our next and the final game I'll be reporting on was Shamrock Rovers away in Tallaght Stadium. Shamrock Rovers are probably the best known Irish team, largely due to their name, and the unfortunate fact that they are the most successful team in Ireland, and the fact that they love to share with everyone at every waking moment. Yeah, to be honest, I can't really say much. If Pats were that successful, I'd be doing the exact same thing. So Shamrock Rovers is probably the biggest derby game of our season, even if they see their biggest rivals as Bohemians or Bows of North Dublin. Now, some may argue that Shelbourne are in fact Pat's biggest rivals, especially due to how intense the rivalry was in the 90s and early 2000s. But I mean, it's Shells. They've spent pretty much all of my life in the first division. It's hard for me to see them as a proper rival. Yeah, they might be a bigger rival to some older Pats fans, but to me and most younger Pats fans, they're just a joke. Ah, Shells, what once was. Yeah, due to the closer proximity to Rovers, the rivalry between us has been more intense in recent years, even if we play second fiddle to Bows. So this would of course be a big, important game. And of course, that's why we played absolutely terribly. Now, the atmosphere was of course great, and if there's one thing I'll compliment Rovers on, it's their stadium. It's easily the best in the league, and it's something similar to the one that Pats have proposed to replace Richmond with. But yeah, the performance on the night, it wasn't great. Rovers pretty much exclusively dominated possession in the first half, and although we did get one pretty good chance, the first half finished scoreless, and then it was time for food. The second half, yeah, it was pretty painful. Once again, Rovers pretty much dominated possession, and in the 50th minute, a solid cross into the box that we failed to clear gave Rovers the lead. Once again, we were trailing. However, this time an equaliser failed to materialise. We could not win the ball in the air for the life of us, and apparently the concept of crossing the ball completely left our lads' minds. And although we were lucky to not concede another, the game ultimately finished 1-0 to Rovers. Now, although I didn't report on either of these two, we did go on to win our next two games, UCD away and Finn Harps at home. I was actually at the latter game and everything, but I'd already written the script for this video. We also then proceeded to get thrashed 4-0 by Derry, which was fun. So that was a first-hand view of the League of Ireland. And now comes the question, why isn't it as big as other leagues in similarly sized European countries? Well, there are a few reasons for that. First off, football is not Ireland's primary sport, unlike pretty much every other European country. In fact, it's not even second or arguably third. Gaelic football and hurling are our primary national sports, which look like this, and they take up the majority of the support in Ireland, especially outside of Dublin. And as well as that, you could argue rugby is also bigger in Ireland than football is. Another reason is the draw of football from our neighbours, the English. The Premier League is the most popular football league in the world, and often the draw of the higher quality of play from teams like Liverpool and Man City takes away a lot of fans. There's going to be someone complaining that I didn't mention United, but alongside the sad reality that a lot of people would rather sit at home and watch a football game on TV than actually go down to a stadium and experience it. Then of course we have the FAI and the damage done by one John Delaney. The FAI, or Football Association of Ireland, during the 2000s and 2010s was incredibly corrupt, and in short, during that time, basically saw our National League football as a bit of a hassle to deal with, refusing to allocate money to develop the league, leading to the unfortunate dissolution of a lot of clubs, and a stagnation in facilities in League of Ireland stadiums, which also led to the lack of TV and media coverage of these games due to the unappealing nature of most of these grounds, many of which were already in dire need of upgrade 20 years ago, and are even worse now. Now, however, there is a bright side to all of this. Since the start of the 2022 season, league attendances have been at an all-time high. More and more people are getting involved in Irish football, or at the very least, giving it a chance. And I suppose that was the point of this video, to show people what the League of Ireland is really like, and how fun it can be to be part of a passionate fan base that supports your team, win, lose or draw. The League of Ireland is not as sanitised as the Premier League, which some people may see as a bad thing, assuming that trouble is always going to be brewing at these games, but being honest, it's not really any different from any other football game. Am I trying to guarantee there's never any violence at these games ever? well, no, there's always going to be groups of people who go there just to cause trouble. But once again, that's prevalent in every football fan base around the globe. In all reality, more than likely you're just going to see a few flares and a bit of banter directed towards the opposition. And even if you aren't a fan of that, to my knowledge, pretty much every League of Ireland stadium has an area away from all of that, so it's not like you have to be part of it if you don't want to. I'm trying to wrap up this video, my dog is barking. Anyway guys, that's about all I have for this video. If you are from Ireland and are interested in football, I would heavily recommend checking out the League of Ireland. Heck, even if you're just visiting Ireland, why not go to a game? Preferably Pats, but I won't judge you too much for supporting someone else. Unless it's one of these three. But thank you all for watching regardless, and I'll see you all next time.